The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
All right, back on the Domino's postgame report as Carson-Newman falls to the Mars Hill Lions, 21-17. I'm Adam Cavalier, joined by Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. Mike, if I were to tell you you're going to rush for more yards than Mars Hill has given up this season, you're going to hold the conference's best third down offense to just 2 conversions on third down. You're only going to give up 2 plays longer than 20 yards on the day. You'd probably feel pretty good about your chances against Mars Hill, but drop this one in heartbreaking fashion. Some critical miscues in some really key places what undo the Eagles today. What'd you see from your team against the Piedmont Division leaders competing but ultimately falling in frustrating fashion?
I think the biggest thing for us, I talked to our guys at the end of the game here, I'm super proud of their effort. For the most part, the guys played hard from the first whistle to the last whistle. They played confident. We believe we're going to win this football game. And it showed, I think, in their play at points of times, the things that, come back to kill you are, penalties, block punt, and then we probably, defensively, we probably made two big mistakes today, and they capitalized on both of them.
A really frustrating day to that end. You'd given up just 29 yards of offense after halftime to Mars Hill. You'd forced 4 straight 3-and-outs, with the exception of the drive where they had it 1st and 10 at the 14 that they scored a touchdown on, and then hit a big field-flipping play, kind of what Tyler Thackerson and Romaine Kelly did to Limestone in 2019, and ultimately that saves the day on an absolute prayer of a heave on 4th and 3 from J.R. Martin. Outside of those frustrating moments, were there what other misgivings did this team have today?
I think, really those were primarily it. That's where you look at the stat sheet. So you give up 24 yards except for a play. And, and that's where you can, these games where you can put your finger on it, directly on it is, like I say, it's frustrating. I know our kids are frustrated. But the thing is, we're in this thing together. We love one another. We're going to continue to fight for one another.
Tyree Nelson was definitely frustrated with his performance last week on special teams. Certainly accounted for himself well today. First 100-yard rusher as an individual that Mars Hill has given up all season long. 22 carries for 136 yards, including a 37-yard touchdown run for his first score of the season. What did you see out of your sophomore ball carrier?
I thought Tyree played really great today. He, started the season off hurt. He's a freshman and all-conference player last year. And then started the season off hurt. And just this was the first game that he's really had an opportunity to kind of interject himself into the entire football game. I thought he ran hard. I thought the guys up front did a good job of creating creases. I thought he did a good job of hitting them. There's points of times where there's nothing there. I thought he made good runs there. Super proud of the fact that, he secured the football. We took care of the football today.
I sat in your office on Thursday after we did the pregame interview, asking the question, what are you going to do about your offensive line, specifically your tackles? Felt like everybody was hurt at that position. And I'm gobsmacked that you rush for 169 yards with who was available today. What can you say about that group and their willingness to grit and gut it out?
It's been a long road, just like with up front this year. I think Coach Ray and Coach Pepin did a great job of, we've been challenging them for really the last 3 weeks, and it's good to finally see it start paying off about getting movement, pushing sleds, playing low, and finding that mindset and mentality of, not just positioning things but moving them. And I thought today, they did a good job of giving us some creases, at points of times, giving us time to be able to throw the football a little bit.
Defensively, Ja'Cory Long, Mekhi Brown, and Jameer Augustine lived in the backfield, especially in the second half. Ja'Cory Long has 3 sacks. Mekhi Brown has 3 sacks. Jameer Augustine has 2 sacks. You have generated an absurd amount of pressure on opposing quarterbacks here of late. Why is that?
I think the guys up front are doing a good job of getting pressure. I think Coach Slade and those guys do a good job of, kind of mixing things up, as far as, with guys from the secondary, got linebackers, changing those pressures up. to where, you know, we force guys that have to sit, maybe to max protect a little bit. But, you know, especially when you get, like last week we talked about those DBs being able to get back and make plays, you know, so all of a sudden that tackle's eyes, he has to go outside, and then, you know, Jacory and some of those guys have a chance to win inside.
Felt like last week, because of the 3 fumbles in the fourth quarter, you might not have deserved to win that game. This one, it felt like you deserved to win, so I guess the universe balances out a little bit. How do you approach these final 3 weeks of the season? Where you were last year in terms of win-loss record, rattled off 3 straight wins to close the season. What's the approach down the stretch run? You've been far more competitive in these types of games this year than you were last year. What's it take to get over the hump against Emory and Henry, UVA-Wise, and Catawba the final 3 weeks of the year?
We just got to keep fighting. I mean, that's exactly where we're at. I mean, we got to, you know, play one play at a time, and we got to continue to keep fighting and stay in the fight, and we got to stay together.
Mike Clowney, pleasure as always. We'll talk to you next week on Homecoming against Emory and Henry.
See you next week.
That is Carson-Newman head coach Mike Clowney. Domino's postgame report rolls on with conversations with Tyree Nelson and Jacory Long after these messages on the Eagle Sports Network.
Domino's Pizza